Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
Waalaikumsalam
wabarakatuh.
Hey, how are you? Another test,
Great,
another extra lesson. Huh? Okay, let me tell you the pointers first. Not detailed, but general, let's say. We are planning to ask 6 questions from central nervous system and 6 questions from peripheral nervous system. Okay, only nervous system then. In this one, there is neuron structure, neuron types and functions, let's say. There is nerve impulse transmission. What else? Parts of CNS, like brain parts and functions. And maybe one question about spinal cord. Okay, like it will be like, how to say it, brain parts, functions, one question. There are reflexes, spinal cord and reflexes, let's say. So it will be like 6 questions from CNS. And for PNS part, I don't know, I'm not making this part, but my guess is there'll be questions about, okay, there is the general picture. We are going to see like PNS plan, let's say. We'll talk about that. Then definitely there'll be question about sympathetic and parasympathetic mechanisms. Maybe 2 questions, I think. This is like the most important part for PNS, for exams. And the other teachers may also ask about, okay, there'll be questions about diseases, disorders of nervous system. Most likely there'll be questions about nerves, like there are 40, how many? 43, I think. 12 and 31, 12 and 31, 43. Yeah. There are 43 nerves. There'll be question about them, most likely. These are in the book. I'll tell you to read some pages. There are no other things. I think maybe like more questions about nerves, maybe 2 questions about disorders, can be like that. Okay, so for this part, for CNS, my slide will be enough to answer the questions. But for PNS, I think you should read the book. The things in my slides, they are too simple for PNS. So don't just think the things in the slide are enough. I don't think so. There'll be some details about these, especially these 2 from the book. Okay, let's start. 12, normal, yeah, 11 students. Time is normal. Okay. This is like the introduction. Let's look at this diagram first. How does our nervous system work? Okay. We get stimulus from outside, from the environment, stimulus, or sometimes from inside the body. Stimulus comes, let's say, to the eye. Okay, we see. we see something, stimulus. And then here in the sense organ, receptors, we have receptors, and receptors are inside. Like we have some receptors in the eye, some receptors in the ears, many receptors in the skin, like that. Stimulus comes, receptors get it, and receptors change it to electrical signal. Okay, like they get light, they make it electricity. They get sound waves, they change it to electricity. We touch something, they get the pressure or pain, and then they change it to electricity again. Then receptors give it to sensory neurons. Okay, this blue is sensory neuron. Electrical signal is moving. It comes to, okay, this is like this circle is CNS, central nervous system. Okay. Let's delete this part. Okay. What do we have inside the CNS? CNS is brain and spinal cord. Okay, two organs, brain and spinal cord. And what do we have inside it, inside these organs? The end of sensory neuron, just the end, not the cell body. Cell body is like here. Okay, and then the green one is interneuron. It is completely inside the CNS, completely, all parts. And then the red one is motor neuron. For the motor neuron, this part, this is cell body. Cell body is inside the CNS, axon is outside. So the orders are going. This is like sensory input, is like information is coming. And then here in the CNS, we make a decision. We decide what to do. And then we tell the effectors. We tell the effectors what to do. How do we do that? Using motor neurons. Motor neurons carry orders to the effectors. Effectors are two types, mostly muscles and glands, like salivary gland, sweat gland, adrenal gland, like those. Then effectors do what? They do something, like for example, if they are muscles, they contract. If they are glands, they secrete something. That is our response. Our response to the stimulus. We get the stimulus, information goes to the CNS, we make a decision, and then we do something. Like when you touch something hot, let's say this camera has electricity. I touch the camera without knowing there is electricity. And then my skin gets the electricity and then gives information to the CNS. CNS decides that we have to pull our hand back, and then we just do this. This is my response. Okay, it's like the basic mechanism: stimulus, receptor, sensory neuron, interneuron, motor neuron, effector, response. This is asked in exams. There are UN questions asking this pathway. Maybe we'll see in the slides. We do this. We respond to stimulus, by using two organ systems. The main one is nervous system, and the helping one is hormonal endocrine system. Okay, these are our coordination systems. Nervous system is like this. There is CNS and PNS. Where is the picture? Wait. Yeah, CNS is just brain and spinal cord. Brain here and the spinal cord. The rest, these nerves going to different parts of the body. There are 43 nerves. These are PNS, peripheral nervous system. Okay, you may get an easy question like, which organs make up CNS, brain and spinal cord? The human nervous system, okay, CNS is brain and spinal cord. Okay, now neurons. Nervous system is made of neurons, actually. Neurons and some supporting connective cells, connective tissue cells. So nerve cell or neuron, same thing. Let's put an equal sign. These are specialized cells to do what? To transmit, like transfer, to pass information in the form of electrical impulses. Okay, the signals are called electrical impulse from one part of the body to another part. So these are kind of like electricity cables. Kind of. This is the general structure. We need to know this. There are 4 names: dendrite, cell body, axon, and myelin. Actually 5. Node of Ranvier also. Oh, let's add this. 6 names then. But the basic are these 3 dendrites. These are like antenna. They receive information. Dendrites. And then dendrites send information to the cell body. Here, cell body. Cell body is the part with nucleus and other organelles, mitochondria, Golgi, they are here inside this part. Dendrites are many, like there are many dendrites. Axon is usually one long, like starts from here and then goes all the way till these ends. Axon terminal is like the end. So what happens? Dendrites get the signal, give it to cell body gives it to axon carries it away to another cell maybe. Okay, so it goes like dendrite to cell body to axon. Okay, makes sense, I think. D, C, B, A, alphabet backwards. If you go the other way, A, axon, cell body, dendrite, doesn't work, right? Not good. What about these two Schwann cells? Maybe there is a diagram. There is no. Okay. Schwann cell is, let's clear this. It's a cell just like one of the connective tissue cells. Like here in this diagram, we see 5 Schwann cells. Okay, they have nucleus and other things. What they do, they wrap axon. Okay, they wrap axon, and they are made of Schwann cells contain so this myelin sheath is actually inside the Schwann cells. So if this is axon, let's say we cut the axon, and axon is like this, let's say. Schwann cell is around it like this, and then it's like paper rolling kind of. You are putting this paper around your arm. Imagine many layers, like 10 layers of paper, maybe 20 layers of paper. Together, all of it is Schwann cell. Each layer is myelin sheath. Myelin sheath insulates the axon. And what happens? So we have faster signals. Okay, faster signals. And another name here, node of Ranvier, is the gaps. Like this one is node of Ranvier, another node of Ranvier. Node of Ranvier is non-myelinated. There is no myelin there, gaps. Okay, we'll see that again. There is this like functions, maybe descriptions table. Okay, you can read this if you want later. So this is asked. There are some questions asked in this direction. Dendrite, cell body, axon. Types of neurons, we have 3 types: sensory, motor, interneuron or relay neuron. You should be able to tell which one is which from these diagrams. Okay, like Okay, this is not actually very good. Let's see another one. Here, we have three of them. This one is motor neuron. This is interneuron. And this one is sensory. Oh, it's written there already. Wait. How do we know? Like, how do we know which one is which? The shapes. Okay, first, position of the cell body is one criteria. Like for motor and interneuron, this is the cell body. There are dendrites, nucleus here, and there is one axon, one big axon. Shape is like this for motor. For interneuron also same. Now what's the difference? Difference is myelin sheath. If it is motor neuron, on the axon there are myelin sheaths. But if interneuron, there is no myelin sheath, just this. What about sensory? Sensory has the cell body somewhere in the middle, not on one end. Like let's say cell body is here, and there is one part going out, and then it branches into two. Usually like this. And there are myelin sheaths again. Okay, so we check the position of the cell body, if it is at the end or in the middle, and then we check the myelin sheath. Interneuron doesn't have myelin sheath. These terms, unipolar, bipolar, multipolar. This one is like we have the cell body. If if like there is for like in sensory neuron, if there is one part going out and then branching into two or branching into more, it's not important. If just one part going out, that is unipolar. Okay, if from the cell body there are many parts going out, like dendrite, another dendrite, axon, so many, then this is multipolar. Usually like this, motor neurons and interneurons are multipolar because from the cell body there are many branches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, many, and here also many. But for sensory there is only one. Okay, this is for the structure and function. Okay, no need for this. Like what do they do? For example, sensory, transmitting, all of them transmit impulses. Okay, neurons do that. Neurons transmit impulses, but the direction, sensory neuron, they take information from sense organs to the CNS. From sense organs to CNS. If it is motor, opposite direction, from CNS to effectors. If it is interneuron, transmit impulses from sensor neuron to motor neuron, connection, kind of in the middle. Like here. Like from the skin, we get information with the sensory neuron, sensory. So this is sensory. These are receptors, receptor, interneuron, and then motor neuron. Skeletal muscle is the effector. Oh, here. Okay. This is from one question. This middle part is spinal cord. This is transverse section through spinal cord. Interneuron is here. So this is reflex. Okay. Again, there are questions asking the reflex arc, many UN questions actually. So you need to remember this order: stimulus, receptor, sensory. Sometimes instead of interneuron, they just write here brain or spinal cord. So like that. If you can watch, these two are really good videos about impulse transmission mechanisms, short and good, like really explaining well. So I suggest later you watch these two. Okay, now after types of neurons, neuron structure, second big point here is how the signal moves on the nerve cell. Okay, it's like this. So one part is, let's say this is our motor neuron. How does it go along this axon? And how does the signal move here? This is one. Another one, how does it go from one cell to another cell? Here, two. How does it jump from one cell to another cell? We look at these. Okay, this is not that important, I think. Like when there is a stimulus, our cells, our sensory neurons, they don't send every information to the brain. They check how big is this stimulus. There is a limit. If the stimulus can come to the limit, then they send the information. If the stimulus is below the limit, they don't send any. So it's like 0 or 1, all or none, kind of none, 0, all. If we get the level, we send the signal. If we don't get it, we don't send it. This is called all or none law. When we look at nerve cells, a resting nerve cell, okay, resting, relaxed, resting nerve cell is polarized. What does it mean? Outside and inside are not same. Okay, for voltage, outside is positive, inside is negative, and there is a net charge like negative 70 millivolts when the nerve cell is resting. Okay, outside positive, inside negative. Try to remember that. Like I remember like this: inside negative. There is n in both of them. I mean, the way for yourself. Another thing you should remember, maybe more important for the exam questions, potassium and sodium. Look, potassium here is small. Potassium outside is big. Most of the potassium is outside. And most of the sodium is outside. Most of the potassium is inside. For this one, I remember it like this: sodium out, potassium kin side. Kin is like brother, sister. So should be like this. Potassium's inside normally. To do this, to keep more potassium inside and more sodium outside, we have this purple protein. Okay, this one is called, this is responsible for this change, like more sodium outside, more potassium inside. It's because of this. This is called sodium potassium pump. Okay, sodium potassium pump. And this is doing active transport. It is spending ATP, it's using energy and moving molecules from lower concentration to higher concentration. Like here, let's see, there is more potassium inside, but this thing is moving potassiums still in this direction. And then it is moving sodiums in this direction. 3 sodium outside, 2 potassium inside every turn. If you give it 1 ATP, it pushes 3 ATP out. Sorry, it pushes 3 sodium out, 2 potassium in. Okay, this negative 70 millivolt, this polarization is because of sodium potassium pump. Okay, moving. Now we'll see how it happens. This is resting, polarized membrane, resting, and there is no signal. Okay, no signal, no impulse. We are just resting. Inside is negative, outside is positive. Outside has sodium, inside has potassium. Then when the signal comes, depolarization happens. Polarization is broken, kind of. Depolarization, canceling polarization. What happens in this part, in this depolarized part? Sodium ions flow in. Okay, there is a lot of sodium outside, right? Something happens and then sodiums start moving inside. What happens? Through sodium ions flow in through sodium channel. Okay, when the signal comes here, sodium channels open. Sodium channels open. When they are open, sodiums are just diffusing inside from higher concentration to lower concentration. When they go inside, inside becomes positive, outside becomes negative. Okay, this area is the signal. Signal is here. And the signal will move in this direction. Okay, how does it happen? Let's continue. Now, see, okay, you see the same thing. Depolarization is moving now. It's moving to the next part, next part, next part, going like that. Why does it happen like that? Because sodium channels are voltage gated. Voltage gated. In the book, you'll see voltage gated sodium channels, meaning voltage sensitive. How are they sensitive? If their left becomes depolarized, they open. Okay, if their left becomes depolarized, they open. So the sodium channel here is waiting, closed, but depolarization happens here, so it opens. When it opens, the next one opens, the next one opens, the next one opens, goes like that. Okay, they activate each other. It's like many people are sitting side by side, let's say in a football stadium, right? Let's say 100 people are sitting next to each other. When one of them stands up, the next one stands up, the next one. So you are waiting for your friend to stand up. When he stands up, you are also standing up. And the other one, he stands up after you. So it goes like that, like Mexican wave in football. Okay, here depolarization is now here in the next step. What happens is, after depolarization, after like few milliseconds, sodium channels close, potassium channels open. Here now, in this part, okay, here in this part, it says sodium ions pumped out of the neuron. Actually, let's change it. Potassium, okay, actually this happens, but the more important thing is potassium ions flow out of neuron. Okay, potassiums are going out now. When potassium channels open, potassium now this time goes out. When it goes out, outside becomes positive again. This is called repolarization. Okay, so it's like here, let's look at this one. Three of them are here together. Before the signal is polarization. The signal is depolarization. After the signal, the repair is repolarization, and then polarization again. Here, sodium potassium pump is active. Here, sodium channels are open. Here, potassium channels are open. Okay, let's see another diagram. Let's just read. At the start, membrane is completely polarized, resting. When an action potential is initiated, action potential is the signal, impulse. A region of the membrane depolarizes. So this part is depolarized, sodium moving in. when the adjacent region is depolarized, an action potential is moving. Now the depolarization is here now, signal is moving. So this is the signal. Signal is here, sodiums are moving in. Behind, potassiums are going out. Depolarization. Fine, you need to know like the order of signal transmission. First sodium goes in, depolarization, then potassium goes out, repolarization, and then sodium potassium pump balances things, that is polarization. Okay, I tried to summarize it here. There is this graph in some questions, you will see that. Let's find the clean slide. Yeah, here. There is this graph. Say this is time, and this side is voltage, millivolts. When the voltage is like -70, it means the neuron is relaxed, -70. When the signal comes, voltage increases up to +35. Okay, this increases depolarization. And then repolarization happens. We go down a little bit below 70, and then we come to normal again. Okay, the graph is like this. Here, this is polarization. This is depolarization. This is repolarization and polarization again. Fine. This is maybe the most technical part of the chapter, but the video is good to explain this with animations. Okay, this is for myelinated and non-myelinated. Let's remove the graph. If the axon is myelinated, why did it stop? If the axon is myelinated, signal moves faster, as you can see in the diagram. It's like jumping from here to here. Okay, like that, not just going. This kind of jumping signal transmission is called saltatory conduction. In the Zambach book, this was important. Just saltatory conduction, jumping. Means jumping, I think, in Latin, saltation. Okay. The second part, what happens at the end of the neuron? Electrical impulse transmission is very fast. Let's say there is a road, right? There is a road, and there is a river, and the road again. You have a nice car, and you are moving fast. Like you are moving fast on the road. This is like electrical impulse. You are going like with 200 kilometers per hour. But when you come here, now there is a river here. Your fast car doesn't work, right? You have to stop here, and then you have to swim. Maybe you get on a boat and then go slowly this time. And then here another car is waiting for you. You go fast again. So this is a synapse. And in the synapse, there is chemical transmission. Here it is electrical. Chemical is with diffusion. What happens? Like the action potential signal comes to this end. This is the end of the axon terminal. Okay. When the signal comes here, these calcium channels open and they let calcium in. Calcium goes in. Again, calcium for the fourth time. We have seen calcium in bone structure, making bones stronger. We have seen calcium in muscle contraction, calcium in blood clotting, and calcium in signal transmission. Okay, fourth role. Calcium goes in and then activates these vesicles. There are vesicles inside. like kind of like vacuoles waiting. And the molecule inside is neurotransmitter, neuron transmitter, signal mover, kind of like that. And the most important, most famous one is acetylcholine. Choline. Okay, the most famous neurotransmitter. So calcium goes in, neurotransmitters are released. They just go out. You can think about them like birds, pigeons, right? Pigeons with message. So they go to the other part. This is a dendrite of the next cell. So this is a very small opening, tiny gap called synaptic cleft, like a break. And these chemicals, they just diffuse to the other side. Some of them diffuse, they go wrong, they go outside, but at least half of them go to the other side and bind to receptors. Okay, when they bind to receptors, sodium channels open here. Sodium channels open and a new signal starts. Okay, so order of things. Signal comes to axon end, calcium goes inside, neurotransmitters are released, neurotransmitters diffuse and bind to receptors of the other cell. Okay, and then when this happens, sodium channels open here, and then there is depolarization beginning again. To stop this, there are some poisons or medicines, like some of the painkillers, they just block these receptors. They block these receptors, so neurotransmitters cannot bind to them, and then signal cannot pass. Maybe your finger hurts a lot, you take the painkiller, then your finger cannot send the message to your brain anymore, and then you don't feel anything. Or like during anesthesia, during operations, doctors give some chemicals to your body, and those chemicals stop this synaptic action, then you don't feel anything. Even if they cut your hand and skin, and you just look at it, you see that, but you don't feel anything. Okay, another diagram. This is what happens in a written form. This is another diagram of synaptic action. Like this may be asked, like they say signal is going like this. What is this? Is axon, and this is dendrite. Axon gives, dendrite takes. A detail maybe, but always at this synapse there is this. When we send the signal, we don't want the signal to go there again and again and again. We just want it to go once. So the neurotransmitters, and then this enzyme destroys the leftovers. If we don't do that, signal goes again, again, like that. Okay, like pigeons. Pigeon. Like this, pigeon. The bird for messages, right? The bird, in old times, they were using pigeons to send signals. Let's say you are in this castle, old times. You are even in this castle, or not a good castle. Okay, you are here, you, and then here is the other castle, friend castle, let's say. And then you want to send signals to the other one from A to B. You have a friend there, let's say, and then you are sending pigeons, right? And pigeons have small notes tied to their legs, but to make sure your signal goes there, you are sending 10 pigeons with the same signal. Because if you just send one, something may happen to it. So to make sure you send 10. Then this pigeon goes there. Let's say the message is kill the king. Okay, so this bird quickly goes there, and then your friend gets the message and then kills the king. then another pigeon, like you are sending 10. One of them is kind of lazy and playful, let's say. The bird goes around some other places, plays, eats, sleeps, and after 1 week, the pigeon goes there very late. There is a new king. Your friend gets the message again, kill the king. Then your friend kills the king again, kills the next king. That's a problem, right? We don't want that. So when the signal is gone, this one comes and cleans everything, removes all these neurotransmitters. If you don't have this, you have a disease. Like you do things again and again, kind of. Okay, this is an exam question. Just ask in the order: stimulus, receptor, sensory, interneuron, motor neuron, effector, response. This is also from exam, asking what can be here, what can be here, which organ can be here, which organ can be at X, at Y. Okay, I'll give you two options only. Which one, A or B? Now we need to know which neuron is this. Is it sensory or motor?
A.
A.
A, okay. Is it sensory or motor?
Sensory.
The neuron, sensory, right? Sensory. Sensory neurons carry information from sense organs, from receptors to CNS. Then we need to know the direction. The short part is near the CNS. So this should be CNS. This should be sense organ. Can be eye, ear, skin, one of them. And this side should be brain or spinal cord. For the motor neuron, it's opposite. Okay, this is kind of summary again. You can check this later. A good one, I think, like 1, polarization, 2, depolarization, 3, like you can see, is it shown like this? Yellow is sodium, for sodium channel. Orange is potassium. Green is sodium potassium pump. So this is a good summary, I think. Complete. Can check this later, a bigger one. Low quality. Okay, so this is the end of signal transmission. Then we look inside the CNS now. Okay, this is the nervous system. We divide it into two, CNS and PNS. For CNS, we have the brain and we have the spinal cord. Here there are a lot, so they didn't write it here. But for spinal cord, allows communication between brain and the PNS. Like connection between brain and PNS. Also, and reflex coordination. Okay, let's look at brain now. Brain. Most likely you heard about this. Outside the brain is gray matter, inside is white matter. Most of the action is in gray matter. Gray matter is cell bodies. White matter is myelin. Myelin is fatty, so it is like whitish, but the neurons are gray in color. So most of our activities are here in this gray matter outside. Then this is the development of the brain. Brain is made of 3 parts: forebrain, front, middle, and then hind. For us, it's like top, middle, bottom. But imagine we are like other animals, staying like this, head, front. Then this becomes like our front, and the rest is behind. So they named it according to animals. This is like front. Okay, forebrain, midbrain, hindbrain. We move. Now we need to know the names of some parts, really important for exams. Like, which diagram is good? This is good, I think. This cream color, this color, the biggest part of our brain is cerebrum. Okay, cerebrum. Like there are some things inside, but the biggest part is cerebrum. And inside it, there is thalamus. And then below it, there is hypothalamus. And below the hypothalamus, there is pituitary gland. Pituitary gland, we'll see it in hormone chapter. It's important there. Cerebrum is like our decision making, planning, remembering, memory, all those things are in the cerebrum. Cerebrum makes us different from other animals. Okay. And thalamus is like receptionist. Okay. Many information comes to cerebrum. Thalamus decides which information goes where, like the reception. Okay, reception, relay center. Hypothalamus is responsible for homeostasis, like blood pressure, body temperature, these kind of things. Blood pH, homeostasis. Thalamus is relay, or let's call it simply reception. Receptionist for the cerebrum. Cerebrum is the boss. Then there is the midbrain here, midbrain. This is for like, okay, we'll see that it's coming. Let's just see the positions. Then there is the bottom part here, made of 3 sections, hindbrain or hindbrain. There is pons here, pons, medulla oblongata, we have seen earlier, medulla oblongata, and then cerebellum, small brain, cerebellum. Cerebellum is behind, kind of. Medulla oblongata regulates basic activities like heartbeat, breathing. I think you have seen it like breathing center, controls rate of breathing. Cerebellum coordinates balance and coordinated movement, like walking, swimming, riding bicycle. Like many parts of the body are doing something. Coordinated movement, automatic. Okay, let's continue. This is the view from behind. Here from this one, let's just remember this, corpus callosum. This is the bridge or connection between right hemisphere and the left hemisphere. Corpus callosum, like a bridge. Cerebellum, you see at the bottom, cerebrum on top. The forebrain, cerebrum, largest, most active. There are 4 lobes. You may get questions about these 2. The frontal, the temporal on the side, frontal here. Okay, again, this is the boss of the boss. Our decision making is here. Problem solving, decision making, intelligence, they're all here. Temporal for hearing and speaking. At the back, we have occipital at the back to see. Vision is here. And on top here, top back, there is temporal. Where is it? Sorry, not temporal, parietal, sorry, temporal on the sides. Parietal, usually connected to skin, like touch and other things. This is like a summary. Given function, like for example, parietal, receiving information, sensory, I mean, receiving information from the skin mostly, sense of touch. Frontal lobe, decision making, planning, problem solving. Temporal, hearing, information from ears come here. Occipital, visual. Just try to remember these basics. This will be enough, I hope. Okay, then this is these three. Let's see the table again. Thalamus, relay station like receptionist. Hypothalamus, homeostasis. Body temperature, blood pH, blood pressure. Also some feelings like anger, hunger, pleasure. They are also here. And pituitary gland, we are going to see in another chapter. It controls the endocrine system. It's like the chief gland, master gland. So this is the connection of nervous system to hormones. Master gland. Okay, this amygdala is like the limbic system. This is complicated. It's like about, let's say, you smell something and then you remember something in your past. Like you go somewhere, you smell something, and then it makes you remember some old memories. It's about this limbic system. Connects smelling with the memory. Okay, this is some history here. Midbrain connection part. It coordinates head and eye movements. These are reflexes. Midbrain. Like for example, when something comes toward your eyes, you just close your eyes. Like you are just busy studying, and then you notice something is coming, you just close your eye. That reflex is from here, from the midbrain. Or you hear something and then you just turn there. That head turning, this reflex is from here, midbrain. Reflex, like kind of like spinal cord in the brain. Hindbrain, these three are popular in the exams. They ask, like, for example, I'll show you a question from one book. It is like pointing cerebellum and asking, what is the function of this part? So you need to know this is cerebellum, responsible for balance and coordinated movement. Like that. What do they do? Let's look at it again. Pons connects upper and lower parts. This is for all of them. Sleep and dreaming. Like you go into sleep or you wake up, this is controlled by pons. Like sometimes you want to listen to the teacher, but it was happening in offline education. Student is looking at you, but just falling and then coming back, falling. That is controlled by pons. Okay, so dreaming also, they believe dreaming is also here. So we just wake up or go back into sleep. Medulla oblongata, remember these: breathe in, heartbeat rate, digestion, basic activities, automatic. There'll be questions like this. A patient has a problem, let's say, in controlling heartbeat rate. Okay, a patient has a problem in controlling heartbeat rate. His heartbeat rate is just increasing, decreasing, there is no order. Where in the brain can be a problem? Then the answer is medulla oblongata, because it is responsible for heartbeat rate. There is that type of question. Cerebellum, again, coordinated movement, body balance. Like when I'm writing my name, right, this one, I don't think, right? I don't think, how will I move my hand? This is automatic. This is by cerebellum. But a long time ago, when I was learning how to write in ST, I was thinking, I'll write A. A is like this, or first like this, then like this. So we think, right? In ST first class maybe. But now nobody thinks, because it is cerebellum, automatic actions. Okay, this is brain stem, these three: midbrain, pons, medulla oblongata. Brain stem, okay, not really important. this is about the drugs. We skipped that part. There is this question you can check. It's like it can be an exam question, like part of the brain and the function matching. Another one, cerebral cortex, like cerebellum, cerebrum cortex, the gray matter of the cortex, plays a major role in all of the following except like breath holding, food tapping. Okay, circadian rhythm is sleep cycle. This is controlled by pons. But the other things, they are voluntary. Voluntary things are controlled by cerebrum. You think you want to do something and then you do it. Breath holding, let's say. You want to hold your breath, then you do that. Memory also there. Spinal cord, two functions. Structure is like this. The thing is, in the brain, gray matter is outside, white matter is inside in the brain. But in the spinal cord, it's opposite. Cell bodies are inside, like we have learned it like that. The interneuron, I'll put the interneuron here. Interneuron like this, right? An interneuron doesn't have myelin, so it is gray in color. So there is gray color here. White matter is myelin, myelinated axons. So this is like let's say left side of the body. This is like right side of the body. Some sensory neurons come in and then give the information, and the motor neurons go out. Okay, I think nobody will ask you like about the dorsal root or ganglion or others, but the neurons are important. Which neuron is which? This is showing the complete reflex, receptor, sensory neuron, the blue, interneuron, motor neuron going back to muscle effector. This is reflex arc, like this one. You touch something and then move your hand back. This is from a question, most likely. No, not from question, because everything is written on it. Reflex arc again. Like this is exam question. All of them start with receptor. Then should be sensoric first, right? So this is out, this is out, this is out. We have A and E, brain and which one?
E.
Movement reflex, right? So spinal cord is most likely, yeah. For like moving your hand, moving your legs, spinal cord is controlling that to be quick. Information doesn't go to, you don't do it like you touch something hot and then you think, oh, my finger is burning, I should move your hand. And then we don't think, we just move it and then we check what was happening, right? So brain also get the information, but later. First, we do the reflex with spinal cord. But if it is again eye reflex or head reflexes, these are controlled by midbrain. Okay, this is like asking the names and functions. This was quiz for your friends. Cerebrum, this is thalamus, B. C is midbrain. D is pon. E is medulla oblongata. And then F is cerebellum. Right? You need to have like brief function for each. This is the reflex action for the leg this time. Okay. Let's continue with PNS quickly. Right? Do you have Do we still have time? What is your plan? How is your plan? Until 6. Okay.
Yes.
I think there is not much about this one. Let's just see. Nervous system again. CNS. We have looked at it. Now PNS. I believe you may get one question about this plan. Okay, this plan. What is there in the plan? PNS divided into 2. Somatic and autonomic. Somatic is voluntary. Autonomic is automatic, involuntary. Okay. Somatic is controlling skeletal muscles, voluntary muscles, skeletal muscles. And autonomic is controlling internal organs like stomach, intestines, heart, lungs, the things we don't control. Communicates with internal organs and also glands, like we cannot control our sweat glands, right? We cannot control our salivary glands. That is autonomic. Let's look at somatic again. Somatic communicates with the sense organs and voluntary organs. So receives information from sense organs, right? From the eye, from the ears, receive information, and then gives orders to skeletal muscles only. Okay, remember these: voluntary, skeletal muscles. It is somatic. Autonomic is more complicated. This receives information from inside the body and then controls inside the body. There are 2 divisions. One of them is making us more active. This is also called fight or flight. And this one is called rest and digest. If you go sympathetic, you are preparing for action. If you go parasympathetic, you are preparing for relaxing. Okay, we'll see more details of this, but just remember, PNS is 2 parts, somatic and autonomic. Most like question may come from this side. Another diagram showing the same thing. I hope you remember this from kidneys, afferent and efferent. Afferent means incoming. Efferent means going out. Like afferent neurons are sensory neurons. Efferent neurons are motor neurons. Okay, so motor system is somatic system, controls skeletal muscles, somatic, voluntary, and autonomic. Now we'll look at that. Oh, this one, I don't have information here, only this much, but you should read the book about these. Okay, we have 43 nerves, 12 of them connected to the head, to the brain, and 31 of them connected to spinal cord. In the book, there is a table like given those 12 names, 12 cranial bones, they have names. Like one of them is from the ears, one of them is from the eyes, and others, there is information, names and functions for each. Last time in one of the weekly tests, there was a question about them, like which is doing what. So you should check that at least once. Okay, to be honest, I don't know them. But since I'm a teacher, nobody asks me, I can check the books. So I'm okay, I'm relaxed, kind of. Okay, so prepare yourselves. Read the book. Okay, moving. Okay, we'll compare sympathetic and parasympathetic now. PNS is divided into 2, somatic, autonomic. This is not important. Autonomic is divided into two. Sympathetic prepares the body for emergency action. Parasympathetic is relaxing. Okay. Now the questions are like this. Which organ does what in sympathetic and in parasympathetic? So it's easy, don't worry, it's easy. Which one is which side is which? Pupil dilates, pupil becomes big. Our pupil becomes big in emergency or when we are relaxed? Pupil, the black part of the eye, it becomes bigger when we are scared, stressed, or when we are relaxed. In emergency, right? So this part is sympathetic. So this is like fight. This is like rest, this side. Okay, like let's see what happens. You need to know about the pupil. When we are scared, when we are like excited in emergency, our pupils become bigger. I think idea is to get more light and to see better. Okay, imagine you are fighting and then you need to see everything, then your pupils become bigger. This is one. If you are relaxed, your pupils get smaller. This is rest and digest. Rest and digest. So if there is any digestive activity, in emergency, it goes down. Like saliva secretion goes down. Because that can wait. We are in emergency. Like another thing, stomach and intestine activity goes down. Pancreas activity goes down. Okay. So digestive activities in sympathetic, they all stop or slow down. Logical, right? They can wait. We are in emergency. What happens? Our bronchus and bronchioles, they become larger. So we can get more oxygen. We are going to fight or run. So we need more energy. For energy, we need more oxygen. More oxygen, more glucose. So this one, they relax. So we get more oxygen. They relax. Heart. Our heart beats faster to transport blood faster. Right? To bring oxygen to our cells faster. In sympathetic, heart beats faster. We breathe faster. Then here, this one, glucose, blood glucose level increases because we need more glucose to produce energy. What happens in the liver? In the liver, not starch, glycogen is broken down into glucose, and then glucose enters blood. Okay, so like idea is to put more glucose into blood, our cells can take it and produce more energy. Another thing, okay, this is, you don't need this most likely, inhibits emptying of bladder. Let's say you feel pressure in your bladder, you are going to toilet, and then on the way to toilet, you see something scary, like you see a snake, let's say, right? And then you forget about going to toilet, right? That pressure goes away. Or sometimes if you are so scared, urine may go out, but that is not normal. The normal thing is when you are stressed, you forget about going to toilet. So this is also sympathetic. Okay, inhibits emptying of bladder, sympathetic. On the other side, opposites. Pupil becomes smaller, digestive activities all increase, more saliva, intestines work, stomach works, pancreas works. These are all increasing. Bronchioles become smaller, heart goes down, like that. This is another summary, more organized. If sympathetic, pupil, you need to know about pupil. These are digestion, saliva, mucus, digestion. like stomach, small intestine, large intestine, these are all digestion together. These are together. Heart rate, bronchial muscles. Okay, questions can be like, is there a question? There is no question. Questions are like, which is true for sympathetic division? Like pupil dilates, heartbeat increases, like them. One of them is correct or one of them is not correct. So you need to know these groups. The hardest question I have ever seen about this is like, it was like really hot, I think. I will not ask it this time. Don't worry. Actually, I'm not asking this part. Like for asthmatic people, for people with asthma, means their bronchioles becoming narrow, right? When they have asthma crisis, right? When they have asthma crisis, bronchioles are becoming narrower. So they get the medicine to make them relax again. So the question was like this: what could be one of the side effects of asthma medicine to make bronchioles relax? So if the medicine is making bronchioles relax, become bigger, then that is activating sympathetic division, because bronchioles relaxing is sympathetic. Side effect can be all others happen, like digestion slows down, heartbeat rate increases, pupil becomes larger. So one of them is not good. Maybe heartbeat rate increasing is not good. Maybe like when you take the asthma medicine, your heart beats faster. So that can be a side effect. That question was like hot, I think. So you need to know the groups. Idea is know these as a group and connect them to resting. Know these as a group and then connect them to action. And the last thing, I put some of the diseases here, not all of them. In the book, there are some different ones. Epilepsy is like electrical problem in the brain. Like problem in the electrical activity. And then when this happens, the person loses control and then just falls on the ground and then doesn't know what he's doing because the brain is out, kind of. Meningitis is infection caused by microbes, bacteria or virus, both of them can cause that. This is epilepsy. Person just falls. Like if you are driving a car or riding a motorcycle, if it happens, then it's really bad. You may get, if you get it in wrong time, it can be deadly. This is meningitis, infection in the brain membranes. We have meninges, the membranes here. If it happens there, it can be deadly again. There are two diseases for old people usually, Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Alzheimer's is because of neurons dying. When we get older, some neurons just die. As they die, we start losing the memory. Okay, we can't remember things. Solution is keeping your brains active, learning new things, keeping your brain challenging always. So brain shrinks kind of in this disease. And another one is Parkinson's. In this one, we lose the control of the muscles. Like we cannot control the muscles effectively. Let's say you are walking, you cannot walk properly, but let's say you will walk like 5 steps and then turn right. You are walking, you want to turn, but your body doesn't turn. It goes still. And then you may hit to the door, the walls, you may fall from stairs. So it's about controlling the muscles, Parkinson's. This one is not in the book. I think I just put it there because it's interesting. Bipolar disorder. Nope, it's not there. These are just some, which one is different questions. This is easy, just you are looking at the diagram and then checking what's happening there. What is occurring? Sodium ions are entering the neuron. Okay, only that. If you check this, potassium ions are entering neuron. No, wrong. They are going out. Simple reflex arc, which is the characteristic of the sympathetic. Okay, this is an example of sympathetic parasympathetic. It's an example of characteristic of sympathetic. You remember sympathetic is emergency.
EB.
Stimulates digestion means make it faster, make it more. Nope. Dilates the bronchi. Dilate means make it bigger. Make it bigger so we can get more oxygen. This looks okay. Slows the heart rate. No. Converts glucose to glycogen. Opposite. Sympathetic, we need glucose, so we have to change glycogen to glucose. The X is A, C, D, they are for parasympathetic. B is for sympathetic. This is the one I mentioned before. Okay. If the portion indicated by the arrow was damaged due to trauma, what effects would this person most likely experience? So this is not working well. Then we think, oh, which part is this? Cerebellum. What's the function of cerebellum? Let's check. Partial or complete memory loss. Memory, cerebrum. Body temperature fluctuations like increasing, decreasing. Body temperature, homeostasis, hypothalamus. Hypothalamus, like somewhere here. Okay, not big, somewhere here. Trouble maintaining balance. Balance and coordinated movement. So this is the answer. Rapid breathing. Which part is broken and then we breathe faster than normal?
Medulla oblongata.
Medulla oblongata. Okay, very good. Somewhere the bottom, medulla oblongata, and then there is spinal cord. This is pons. This is midbrain. So just try to know the parts, which part is which, and briefly, what do they do? Okay, this is not a very clear question, but hypothalamus, homeostasis. Homeostasis is completely involuntary, right? Sensory means like controlling, taking information from the sense organs. Sensory is like cerebrum, I think. Cerebrum gets information. Voluntary, again, cerebrum. Voluntary actions, cerebrum, the top, the biggest part. Peripheral, too general. Autonomic, like peripheral has two parts. Remember, PNS, two parts, autonomic and somatic. Right? Autonomic is like more related to hypothalamus. After this, I have sense organs. Now with 11A, I shared Zambak's questions. They are good. I think some of them like useful. You may check them. If you want many questions, you can look at them. I really suggest reading the book's pages about PNS. Okay. For CNS, for 6 questions, this slide will be enough. But for PNS, I don't know again. If I were you, I would read PNS part carefully, and I would look at the book's questions about PNS. You have the books, right? Do you have the Bahasa book, Erlanga? Okay, you can. If you don't have, you can ask your friends to send photos to you, so you can do that. Zambak book, do you need pages of Zambak book about this?
Yes.
Okay, I'll share the same documents with you. And maybe there is one quiz, I can share it also. So, okay, that's all. That's all from me. Any questions? Anything else you want, maybe?
May I ask question, sir?
Of course.
What is the shape of the bipolar neuron?
Bipolar neuron is like this. This is the cell body, nucleus. There is this and another one, like this. Like maybe this becomes longer and then this. Maybe some interneurons are like this. Okay, but most of them, to keep things simple, like interneuron is like this with no myelin, just dendrites, axon, no myelin. This is multipolar, so many. If it is bipolar, just two parts going out. Okay, if it is unipolar, again, one going out, sensory neuron, and then branching into two. But the important one is how many goes out from the cell body. Okay. Anything else?
Thank you, sir.
Okay, I'll just share the things with you, the ones I gave to 11A. Then I just wish you good luck. If there are questions later, feel free to ask. You can just send to my WhatsApp, I can check. Okay, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, Wisnu.
Tadi ada Mubin. Dawa di Hosa kan.